How aggrieved are they going to be feeling, Jamie, with that scoreline, do you think?
Very. Because the offside decision, obviously when you do the lines, you do the lines. And you actually look at off his shirt. You actually think how long these shirts are. I mean, would that have made a difference? You know, you have to make them shorter in some ways. He's actually getting grappled by the defender. He's trying to get off him. And the fact he's trying to get off him means he's offside. That's what that's the frustrating thing with VAR now, the way they're doing it offside. It's going off the shirt now because the handball rules changed. And then you look at it and think, could there actually be a penalty? He's actually stopping and moving. He's got to use his arms, and then his arm is offside. There was a similar one with Bamford a few weeks ago, I think, Leeds, Crystal Palace. And I think it's just frustrating for football fans that we're actually losing goals for situations like that. And at this moment, I was a massive fan of VAR before it came in. And what I mean by that is I think the people who brought VAR in, it wasn't to ruin the game. They were trying to improve the game, help the game. And I almost didn't want to say anything at the start. I was like, let's see how it goes. And I was defending it at the start because obviously I felt to be teething problems. And that was normal. It was getting criticised. It was like, give it a chance. And I just think now we're at the stage where I think VAR, I think there's good things and bad things of it, and whatever you want to talk about.
Well, Fulham got a penalty for it earlier, which got them their first away win of the season.
Fine. But the majority of the people in this country, I don't think, have bought VAR. I don't think people are enjoying the football as much. I'll tell you what was the biggest thing with me with VAR, where I almost felt sad watching a game. When Scotland won the shootout with, I forgot who they played, the goalkeeper makes a save in the penalty shootout.
David Marshall. Yeah.
David Marshall makes a save in the shootout. Possibly the biggest moment of his career. Massive for Scotland getting to a tournament. He couldn't celebrate at the time. He had to stop and wait, and he's looking at the official thinking, please, God, make sure my foot doesn't come off that line. He couldn't celebrate that moment. And I think that's a big thing with supporters now. And if I could, who was a big advocate of VAR, if I could go back, or I could certainly use it maybe in a different way, I think I would, no doubt.
Offside's supposed to be black and white, but have you got a problem with this one?
No, look, I was for VAR. I'm still for it. I'm against a couple of the rule changes. Don't think the offside rule's clear enough. I think that the new handball rule that, to be fair, we've all been aghast at this season is creating bigger problems for the game. I think that with offside, do we want accurate decisions? Yes. Footballers and coaches for 25, 30, 40 years have complained about referees and lack of accuracy. These referees are not good enough. They can't keep up with the game. So we brought VAR in for the correct reasons, because referees, the game's so quick and we wanted accuracy with so much at stake. And like you say, Fulham tonight, their fans are delighted. They've won 3 points, which is so big for them because of VAR, and it's been successful for them. What I would say is that it needs refining, it needs to be improved. The biggest problem I have with it at the moment is, and I'm against the grain, is the fans hate it. The fans hate it, and I have a problem with that, because ultimately the game should be about enjoyment for the fans.
Yeah, but you're for it, aren't you?
No, I am for it, but I'm aware that the fans hate it, and that is my concern. I want accuracy. I played football at the top, and I whinged for years about referees, so I want accuracy.
My big thing is that this was brought in to help referees, and let's not forget, we were all calling for it. Managers were calling for it when they were getting big decisions wrong. Referees need help, yes? I actually think in some ways it's exposed referees via VAR. Really, I don't think it's been as big a help to them, and actually exposed them, and they're having a second look at incidents. They're so obsessed with something that they don't see the bigger picture. And maybe it's the pressure of looking at something. They're so obsessed with looking for that offside there and getting the lines. They miss the foul. It goes back to Pickford and Virgil van Dijk. They're so obsessed with seeing if Virgil van Dijk was offside in that, or if there was someone offside. They actually miss the foul. Or the game had stopped, or whether they could have sent Pickford off or what. But what I'm saying is, sometimes they're so obsessed with looking at something. There was something last year, Aston Villa again with Manchester United. Was there a foul on Fernandes? And they're so obsessed with looking for this foul. Fernandes actually fouled the other way. Manchester United got a penalty. But I don't think it's been a massive help for them. And this nonsense of going to the screen has got to stop. We've all been fooled, or we were at the start of the season.
No, going to the screen is not the problem.
Barry, it doesn't make any sense. You tell me one referee who has gone to the screen. Listen, I know for a fact. I know for a fact, I was listening on a game, when the referee goes there, he is not looking at that screen seeing if he's made a mistake or he needs to stick with his decision. He is getting told by Stockley Park where the infringement is, because I heard it. And I've spoke to a referee and he told me that's the exact case.
Going to the screen's not the problem.
Well,
going to the screen, what has happened?
Do you think a referee...
Let Gary have his say on it.
Going to the screen isn't the problem. What's happened is that referees' authority now is being questioned and their credibility is being questioned and they're even doubting themselves. The referees going over to the screen is not a problem. The referees going over to the screen...
What's the point of it?
And not sticking with the decision, if it's right, is a problem. That's the problem. It's the application of technology that is the big problem at this moment in time, or the rule itself. The handball rule is a nonsense. The offside rule about the arm is a nonsense. Those two rules need changing. At that point, VAR, I think, will become more acceptable. And the referees, when they go over to the screen, they've got to have the nerve to say to that guy in Stockley Park, no, I'm sticking with it if they think he's wrong. Because they're there and they're looking at it. And that's the problem at the moment. They look like they've been briefed to the absolute... They look like they've been programmed like robots. They need to just chill out and relax, go with the feeling when they walk over to that screen, no, I'm comfortable with my decision. They're not. They're briefed like mad. They're programmed to the nth degree. They're frightened to death. Their authority is now being taken away. And the biggest problem I'll come back to is the fans hate this thing, so they've got to change it.
They're probably terrified if they do say no, and then the cameras show there is some touch, for example, on the penalty, that they're going to get
There shouldn't be this element of terror, Dave. The element of terror should have been years ago when they didn't have support of technology and they were getting things wrong and they were getting battered left, right and centre off fans, off players, off us on the pitch. We were bad. We were bad on the pitch, by the way, to referees. You know, it's only now after finishing that you realise how difficult a job it is when you commentate and you think, I got that wrong 4 times during this game, and they've got to see it at basically eye level, 100 mile an hour next to them. It's a tough job. And anybody who disrespects a referee has probably never played the game, and we were disrespectful to referees at times. But it is not technology that's causing the problem. There's 2 big rules that need to be changed. The offside needs to change. The offside needs to change.
In what way?
It just needs to be clearer. That arm, that drawing on the arm there is wrong. It's wrong. The handball nonsense is... Now, they've adapted that in the last couple of weeks, so it's better. And then there is the element of going over to the screens, which I approve of, but they've got to allow them to make the decision.
They have to draw that line, don't they? Because they said they can score from this part. The T-shirt, I suppose the question is, was that line where the T-shirt ends?
No, Dave, I agree with Jamie what you said before about the line. The line will be drawn on the screen consistently in the position that the referee is told to, or the Stockley Park official is told to. It will come down and it will throw out a decision. They're not doing it to sort of like do one team over or the other. That to me is always going to happen. Look, I saw a tweet the other day and I thought there was an element of accuracy. Sport is all about precision and detail, about an inch. Whether it be the 100 metres race, whether it be a swimming or whether it's cycling, we're talking about minute details. There's never going to be offsides that are like this.
We're also talking about entertainment, aren't we? And we are denying goals by... an inch, even less.
The offside rule, but now you're arguing the other way, saying it's all about precision.
But offside's always been about inches or a toe or a boot.
You said tonight's wrong. Well, tell me what the change is then.
No, I'm just saying, for me, the offside rule, whereby they're going from the armpit here...
Where should they go from?
I don't know. There can be a clearer rule to go for. They can say daylight. They can do whatever it is. There's got to be something that makes it cleaner. There was a suggestion...
There's always going to be a line somewhere.
There was a suggestion there earlier on about the penalty you thought was rubbish. I quite liked it. About the goalkeeper can stand anywhere in the 6-yard box on a penalty.
Oh, that was just nonsense.
I quite liked it. This idea that a goalkeeper is like coming off his line by an inch and he's getting a retake. I don't get that.
So we don't need to reinvent the entire game.
I'm all for progressive rules. You know, the pass-back rule that was introduced 20-odd years ago was the biggest change in football. It was a big change. At the start, it was people spoke against it at the start. They didn't like it. Now we've got a...
So you don't mind people being given offside by an inch?
It will always be an inch. It will always be an inch offside.
I bet he was the milk monitor at school.
No, it was always an inch. It was always precision in sport. It's right, you know, whether it be a 100 metres race or a Grand National, it can be by inches.
You're saying it's right, and then you're saying it's got to be changed?
No, I'm for technology.
For what?
I'm for technology. Right?
So the precision tonight's right, or you think it should be altered?
It will always be about, whether a ball goes over a line, it's always going to be about an inch. It's not going to be about that much.
I know.
It's always going to be about an inch or 2 inches, 4 inches.
Where are you? You're arguing for both.
I want technology. But
yeah, so what was your problem with tonight then?
I didn't have any problem with tonight. You've got the problem.
You just said before it's not right, the offside rule going off the shirt, and now you're saying
I don't like the point of the arm, the end of the shirt. I don't
So
like that.
that's the bit you'd like changed?
Yeah, that's the bit I'd like changed, personally. The point of where the line's drawn for me shouldn't be the arm there. It should be a point that's always
Well,
fixed.
that's coming because of the handball rule.
So for me, if you said the point is always the furthest foot away, which you can always get to the ground of the foot, as an example, that's consistent. The arm is just, it's up in the air. I don't like the idea. To me, something not right
the leading
about that.
foot, rather than the furthest foot back.
The furthest foot
Closest
forward.